Hi everyone, my name's Earle, right? I'm one of the instructors at Elite. I'm also a full-time law enforcement instructor in perishable skills, so we do firearms training, hand-to-hand combat defensive tactics, tactics and survival. I want to discuss firearm safety first as we move into the series of videos because I don't want them to get too long. I like to also cover usage, movement, but when it comes to safety, you can't really bend those rules because that's when accidents happen. So let's discuss safety first. There's 4 cardinal rules of safety. First one is always treat a firearm as if it's loaded, no matter what. Okay, that'll keep you safe. Second is finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So that means my muzzle is pointed towards a threat. Close quarters, that means my muzzle is pointed at the threat, whether it's at my hip or my chest area. The person's right in front of me, and if the person is a little further away where they can't grab my gun, say 5 to 7 yards away, then my sights will actually be on the threat as well. Next one is muzzle integrity. Know where your muzzle is at all times. Don't point your muzzle at anyone you're not willing to shoot. Okay, if you're not gonna shoot someone, then your muzzle shouldn't be pointed at them. A lot of times when we're working in teams, we'll point the muzzle down towards the ground, and we can cover that later on how we do that for safety, so you don't shoot a partner who might be right in front of you as you're going through a doorway. Last one is know your threat and what's beyond it, because if you miss, even a pistol round will go very far. But not only that, know your surroundings, know what's happening, because if your threat is pretty far away, say 15 yards, you need to know what's going on around that space between you and that threat. Say that threat's in your house and you have an open doorway to your child's bedroom. Well, you have to plan that they may come running out at that point in time, so you need to use your footwork and maneuver your body so you can get better angles and get closer, at the same time keeping the loved ones or public safe around you, depending on how you carry, when you carry. Most people living in LA County will. So we're talking mostly about your home defense, and we're going to be doing pistol only. Also, you have rifle, shotgun. Firearms in itself could be its own martial art per se. But we're going to cover pistol because I'm in a trailer. I have a training pistol and it's a lot easier. So let me reach over and grab it. So first of all, this is a cert pistol. As you can see, the color is red, but just because someone has a red gun doesn't mean it's not real. This is a non-lethal training tool, so live rounds cannot be fired from this weapon at all. It has a weighted magazine. As you can see, there's no ammo. The only drawback is the slide does not work, but when you pull the trigger, it fires a laser. So you can see that on the wall. I'll move it around. It is not a tool for your cats and dogs to chase. You can get a laser pointer for that. This is so you know where you're shooting. So as you can see how my grip is, I'm a right-handed shooter. Fingers off the trigger, out of the trigger guard until I'm ready to shoot, meaning my muzzle is pointed at the threat. So I always look for something that I can feel on the side of the weapon. Something bigger the better, in case you're wearing gloves at the time, for those of you who work. If you're not feeling that, chances are your finger's in here. And this is technically finger off the trigger for those of you. But if I'm walking and I slip, we grab things, right? I'm going to grab and I'm going to pull the trigger and run around into my partner by accident or a loved one. So always make sure fingers up here on the slide, preferably, not the frame. Let's push on with that. So I'm grabbing the gun with a master grip. I want to be high up on this tang area or beaver tail area, because there's an explosion happening in here, and that explosion is going to cause recoil. There's space between this area. When the explosion happens, well, that energy is going to take up that space, and you can see how high the muzzle is going to go. So I want to be as high as I can with that master grip. I actually form a wrinkle right here in the webbing of my hand. Okay, so that's the first thing. Ideally, you want a two-handed grip as much as possible. My hand over. See this space? I'm going to fit this meaty part of my thumb into that space. I'm going to try and close up all the space as much as possible. So I'm going to roll my support hand forward and see how there's absolutely no black left. If I didn't roll it forward, there'd be some black showing, and that explosion is going to take up that space. So ideally I want to roll that forward, creating this puzzle piece. The less space, the more control I'm going to have on that firearm. Quick review. 1. Treat all weapons as if they're loaded. 2. Keep your finger off the trigger and out of the trigger guard until you're ready to shoot. 3. Muzzle integrity. Know where your muzzle is at all times. Don't point it at someone you're not willing to shoot. And 4. Know your threat and what's beyond it in case you do miss, but also know what's going on in your area.